us. It's Swami Shivananda Giri, who I've had the chance to have on my radio show. I've had most of these people on my radio show, luckily enough. Swami is the host of a weekly internet radio show himself on Type 1 Radio Ashram called Meditative Living, which can be found on iTunes and Blog Talk Radio. His teachings represent a lineage spanning thousands of years into ancient India. And as you know, there's lots there that goes way, way back. Now a Western yogi, his mission is to spread the Eastern knowledge in a Western way. Without further ado, Swami, ladies and gentlemen.
Namaste and blessings. I welcome you with great love and great respect. Thank you for choosing to be with us today on this planet, in this country, in this historic city, in this historic place for the Free Your Mind 2 conference. You might be wondering, what the hell's a Swami anyway? The word Swami is a Sanskrit term. Sanskrit is the oldest written language recognized by current historians. And in the Sanskrit language, the word Swami translates best in English to the word master. But in the West, we have this image when we hear the word master of there having to be some sort of a slave or subservient counterpart. And this is not the case. A Swami is one who, by their own inner efforts and under the guidance of a guru, has achieved a certain level within themselves of being able to control the systems at hand. This includes the physical system, the mental system, and the spiritual system. When one becomes a Swami, it is simply a recognition, you've done good, young buck. You've worked hard. You've been here many, many lifetimes. And the Swamihood goes back many thousands of years in India. And the objective is never, ever to be a master over another human. Not in the least bit. The master is here to assist those who would travel the inner path of the mystic. And the word mystic, remember, only means that an individual is having direct and conscious experience of the source by whatever set of syllables they choose. Because if we can just agree on a couple of simple things, I think it's fair enough to say those of us who are gathering and those who will be watching these presentations from this weekend can pretty much say there is a higher power, a source, a being. It does not necessarily have to be an individuation in a form with a name, because the source of all names and forms must be prior to any names and forms. All names and forms proceed from the source. This source is absolute stillness. Nothing is happening at that level. at the level of stillness, in my tradition, we had Shiva, the primal yogi, the guru to all who would come and say, all right, I give up. What the hell is going on? I have done this, I have done that, I have done the drugs, I have done the sex, I have done all the crazy stuff, and I'm still not happy. What is the deal? Shiva answers this for us. As he sits, eyes half open, which indicates Shiva is focused both outwardly and inwardly at the same time. Eyes half open, acknowledging the outer world, eyes half closed, observing the inner world, both at the same time. And completely at peace with whatever is occurring on any level of manifestation at all. You see, Shiva wears an ornament of a cobra. In ancient India, the cobra was a real problem. It will kill you. And these are just running around everywhere. So, the reason that Shiva in these images wears the cobra is it represents the Kundalini energy, which is, for most of us, dormant at the base of your spine. If you have a spine, okay, everybody's got it. I was going to say, if you don't, I'll let you borrow mine, but everybody's good. If you have a spine, you have this energy within you. You may not have yet experienced it, but that doesn't mean you cannot. It just means you have not yet in this incarnation. It is a totally natural process. Shiva wears the cobra, which represents the Kundalini energy that moves up the spine to the crown chakra, the Sahasrara. When the energy moves from the base chakra at the bottom of the spine to the Sahasrara and remains there, one becomes what is commonly referred to as enlightened. This comes with a whole bunch of interesting effects, inner visions, inner sounds, outer events of your life. None of it is restricted. All of it is available to you right now. That's why I'm here. To hang out with you and the speakers and the organizers and the vendors of Free Your Mind. In my system, which is called Kashmir Shaivism. Shaivism refers to Shiva. Back in the time of the ancient Vedas, the oldest religious documents written on the planet that is generally accepted, the word God was not there. We used Shiva. Shiva is not just this character, this image and this name. If you're familiar with the Sanskrit term of Brahman, that speaks of the formless, nameless source. Before any vibration occurs, whether it be light, sound, physical, mental, psychic, the absolute stillness, that point that is inside you right now. You just haven't paid a lot of attention to it yet. You can. And you'll be amazed what you find when you hit this within yourself. There are a great number of humans on the planet at the moment who would like to keep you from understanding this very natural process within yourself. They would like to keep your attention out in the objects of the senses and in the processes of the mind, because they know if your attention is out there, it's never going in here, and it will never rise up as the serpent rises up, because it kind of feels like that. There's a small tube, a subtle tube called the sushumna, which is inside your spinal column, which is where the Kundalini force raises up. And it feels like a snake going up your spine. And a number of us have had these experiences, these energetic changes and odd occurrences. It is totally natural. It's supposed to be happening. And right now, we really need as many people as possible to get involved in their own inner process. Whether you refer to the man as Jesus, Yeshua, Isa, he taught the kingdom of heaven is where? Within. There is no big bearded sky daddy who's waiting to throw you in a burning hell for all eternity. No, no, no. Stop it. That's just silly. What there is a vast field of potential and possibility that you have just yet to touch. That's all. It's right there. It's been there the whole time. And if you're awake enough to be either viewing this or in attendance, you've been messing with these things for lifetimes, without a doubt. These things don't happen on accident. There are subtle forces in play, subtle forces of karma, which is the effect of previous causes. And there is dharma, which is duty. What are you required to do during this individuation, this incarnation, this physical body? Yes, you have this body, but you are not limited to that body. It is a tool to allow you to experience, number one, individuation. Being a seemingly separate being that must care for itself, provide, do things, not do things, all of that. This is the tool that we use to experience the third dimensional earth. The mind is another tool in our toolbox here on this planet. And through the process of yoga, here's a little newsflash for you. Yoga isn't just the folks in the stretchy pants at the gym. Seriously, it's not. Once upon a time, that's all I knew about it. Yoga comes from the Sanskrit term yuj, which means to yoke, to combine, to put together. What this putting together is referring to is you and your source. Period. Call it any set of syllables you enjoy and that brings joy to your heart. The names are completely irrelevant. All of them are worthy of worship and recognition as sparks from that source, only individuated for a short time in an incarnation through a body and a mind. Through the process of yoga, one joins their consciousness with the vast, infinite, and eternal consciousness, which is all there is, all the time, and it's never been anything else. We just haven't known how to look at it quite right. All this stuff seems all broken up into pieces and plans and schemes and bad guys and good guys. That, my friends, is the play of consciousness. The show of dark and light. Because without the contrast of dark and light, you can perceive nothing. If it's all light, you can't see anything. If it's all dark, you can't see anything. There must be the contrast to play off of. This is all that's occurring within consciousness in this universe and every other. A play is occurring. You have been born somewhat like an actor strolls on the stage. The play's already going on. The actor just shows up. Oh, well, I'm what again? Ron? I'm Joe, and my thing is I do this, and I have this family, and I have these problems, and I'm just Joe, and I'm not connected to anything. And there's some big sky daddy that wants to throw me in a lake of fire. What the hell do I have to do to him? I just got here. What's that? Well, that's silliness. That's manipulation of your ability to make proper decisions with proper information and exposure to the truth. Shiva wears the cobra because he has mastered the Kundalini force, the potential within himself for all things to occur comes from that very force. And that is like a snake. And for one who is unskilled and uneducated, it can kill you. It can be greatly misunderstood. It can be traumatic to go through Kundalini experiences when you have no frame of reference for what's occurred. This happens to a lot of people. It is very normal. I have the very good fortune through my meditative living radio show, and because I'm on the Facebook now, my guru told me get on the Facebook, right? And I was like, I'm kind of into this conspiracy theory stuff. I'm not really wanting to be track traced in database. That's why I don't carry a cell phone. And Your Holiness, I'd really prefer not to. Would you get on the Facebook already? Yes, sir. My guru was the first American-born white human being to be invited into the rank of the 80 Mahamandaleshwars in Hinduism, what is commonly referred to as Hinduism. On the inside, we call it Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana means eternal. Dharma is the way, the path, the duty. That's all we do. We assist people in walking their own inner path. And in Sanatana Dharma, there are 80 of these Mahamandeleshwaras. And as I said, my guru, His Holiness, Mahamandeleshwar Paramahamsa Swarupananda Vishwaguru Maharaj of Los Angeles, in 2007 became the very first white, American-born Mahamandeleshwar for this particular planet. I am his Dharma successor. When he takes what we refer to as Mahasamadhi, the great absorption, is the yogi's final departure from the physical form and his final association with it, his order. This yoga stuff is just as open to women as it is men. Y'all got spines too, right? That's all it takes. A spine, a heartbeat, some thought patterns. You can coordinate it all together. It just takes a little bit of understanding. So Shiva wears this dangerous serpent that in a second can end your existence. He knows it well. He's mastered it. Matter of fact, he just slings it around his neck and wears it as an ornament. What do you think of that? That's how worried he is about this mystical and mysterious process. Because he's been there, done it, bought the t-shirt, had a beer, and split. And now there is assistance for anyone else who would choose to do the same thing or even something relatively the same. To me, the spiritual pursuit is like a trip to Baskin-Robbins. You get to Baskin-Robbins and they've got 31 flavors. 31 flavors! I can't even mentally process tasting. What do you want today? Put all the bells and whistles on it you like. All the little bits of this and that and the other thing. Because you know what? Here's the big secret. Those 31 confusing flavors, at the base, it's all just ice cream. Just ice cream with different flavors. Which do you like today? Doesn't mean this is what you have to do the rest of your life. There's nothing to fight about. How much sense does it make for us to go camp out at the Baskin-Robbins and say, you know what? The next person that comes in here and orders cookies and cream, we're killing them. That's it. Damn cookies and cream eaters. I can't stand those guys. But I like chocolate. So everybody who likes chocolate, just come and hang out with me, and we will together rain hell on those cookies and cream eaters. How much sense does any of that make? Let them come and eat their cookies and cream. And let us have our chocolate. And let the other have the vanilla. And all of it exists for a purpose. To be enjoyed. Variety is the spice of life. It is yours. It is given to you. Your mind gets pointed in various directions at various times by various individuals, oftentimes without a very wholesome plan for your attention. They just want to keep it from going where the truth is, which is within you. Every human being, with or without a spine, has this truth within them. just waiting. In our tradition, there is nothing that is not God. Now, if you don't like the term God, that's okay. Toss that one aside. Source. Infinite. Eternal. Higher self. Because if we can agree there's a singular source, then where did the building materials come from that this creation came from? If there was only the one, where did the stuff get gathered up? It didn't. It wasn't separate. It is the one in form, with names. Very simple. And easy to get confused about. Because there is no one way of doing anything. Numerous potentials exist. Which one do you like today? What flavor would you like today? What would you like to put on it today? In every moment, you are making choices through the mind process. And the more, if you will take up the practice of meditation, there are many, many different kinds of meditation, many different goals in meditation. But the one universal aspect of meditation is withdrawing the energy and the focus from the senses and their objects and bringing it home, bringing it within, and sitting with it. And then your mind starts going. How many, I wish I had a nickel for every person who told me, oh yeah, Swami, well I would love to do the meditation thing and be enlightened and all, but I suck at meditation. I can't still my mind. No kidding. Is this supposed to be simple and automatic? Like hitting the drive-through for a Swami blessing on your way to get stoned and laid and drunk? No, this requires focus. It requires time. It requires practice, like any other skill. If you wish to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger, you're going to have to take your ass to the gym. And you're going to have to spend some time there, and you're going to sweat, and you're going to strain, and you're going to suffer from time to time. You may have an injury. But all those are the things he went through to become that. Whatever you focus on as a goal to become, to bring more into your own personal expression as an individuated unit of consciousness, there are numerous possibilities for its expression. And you are completely free to use any of them, depending on your mood, the notions in your mind, and your ability to utilize it. When I was an all-night radio disc jockey, working for a country station, yeehaw, I was involved in, at that time I was very deeply involved in Chinese martial arts. Internal systems where one learns to bring in, process, and express what is called qi. In Japanese it's called ki. In India it's called prana. It is simply subtle energy. Everybody's got access to it. Most of the time we don't utilize it, or the biggest problem, we don't believe that we can. As if someone came and set up a firewall around you without you noticing that keeps you from all these things. That's not true. You just haven't moved in that direction. But you folks are here in Philadelphia, on this planet, in this country, on this day, for this Free Your Mind event. And the first step in freeing your mind is freeing yourself from the influence of that which comes in to your mind to be processed. In meditation, we sit, we close the eyes, we use a mantra, which is a sound, a thought. We use this bit of mind to transcend the mind. It sets up a vibrational frequency which will act as a carrier and allow you to float in the river of divine grace that is your birthright, no matter what anyone with any title or any assemblage of clothes has said otherwise. God exists within you as you. What? No, you are not the entirety of God in the individuation, but the entirety of God has become you. Oh, uh-oh. That means I might have to be a little more responsible about my life. Great. There's a process called Kundalini awakening. Some people go through this on a spontaneous basis, without doing anything to bring it on. I was involved in martial arts and doing a specific type of meditation. And one night at the radio station, I'm typing an email, just thinking little DJ thoughts, and all of a sudden, my spine heated up and started vibrating. I mean hard. From the base of the spine to the top of my skull. Heat and vibration, and I'm going, I didn't smoke anything. I've not taken any pill. Not ingested a tab of anything. But my back is lighting up like a Christmas tree, and I'm vibrating, and eventually I lost all perception of the outer world, all perception of the limbs. I became somewhat egg-shaped. If you stood a chicken egg on the heavy end, that where the bottom of the shell was would be the base of my spine. And the skinnier end was at the top of my head. But this was all I perceived, was this egg shape. And it took decades later, once I found out about the Vedas and the yogis and the ancient rishis talking about the spheroid nature of our universe, of all creation. I slipped and became that while I was sending an email. I didn't ask for it. I didn't order it on Amazon. I didn't see a YouTube about it. And when I came back to normal consciousness, the vibrating in my head and in my spine was still occurring. And I was kind of drooling a little bit, I'll tell you that much. And I raised my head up and I was like, oh my. I have no idea what that was. I had never had nothing like that. So I contacted my sifu, my teacher, my Kung Fu instructor. And I said, oh, something really weird happened, and I was totally taken out of the game for a while. And see, he was not a master of Kundalini. He was a martial arts master. But he was not a master of this. And all he would say to me, one sentence, "Don't play with the big snake." I didn't know I was playing with anything. I didn't know nothing about a snake either, but now you're scaring the hell out of me. Thank you so much for that. And I began going into the more subtle aspects of our work and the teachings. And I found a book by a man named Paramahamsa Yogananda that is called Autobiography of a Yogi. And he was the second yogi to come to the United States and teach yoga. And teach that this is a fully integrated path of making the individual one with the source again. The one became the many, so the many could have the joy of rediscovery of the one during this play of consciousness that we're all here for, all doing our various roles, all living up to surpassing or not quite hitting our potentials. But Kundalini awakening is a universal human process. Everyone can do it. It works in everybody. It is natural for these things to happen. Your awareness must move up the spine, up Jacob's ladder, put any examples along with that you like, and they'll all be true. You must, through the process of meditation, bring your awareness inwards, upwards, and then outwards. And suddenly you find there is nothing I am not. I'm all of this. All of it, all the time. Why didn't I see this before? Guess I shouldn't have been watching American Idol. The goal of human existence, from the perspective of my tradition, is enlightenment and liberation. These are two different things. Enlightenment comes first. Enlightenment can be reached in so many different ways. All you got to do is try. And something will come to support that effort in some way. If you wish to be an enlightened human, make the choice to be that. You made the choice to be here. Did you rush and push getting out the door this morning? Sometimes there's stress. Did you trip over something somewhere and twist your ankle? Sometimes there's pain. But it's not permanent. Enlightenment is permanent. It is the sum bonum of human existence. To bring the pure potential up the spine to the top of the head and rest there. And when you are resting here, there are sounds inside your own head. All sorts of them. There are visions that you will see with your third eye. That's why it's called that. It also refers to intuitive perception, which the intuitive is the much stronger and the absolutely freeing source of knowledge, not the bondage of books and things you read and gather through the senses. That's already out there. Now you're trying to pull that in, process it, do something with it. There's a shorter path. It's called intuition. The state of the jnani, the jnani, the knower. You can't say how you know, only that you know. I couldn't tell you how to get from Mark's house to this place. I was along for the ride. I couldn't retrace my steps in any way, shape, or form. But I'm here, and that's all that was required. If you will simply reach up to pluck the fruit, the sweet fruit of freedom that is yours, and waiting for you inside your very own system, your life will change. You won't be as angry. You won't be as depressed. You won't be as anxious about what the bad guys are doing. You will come to a place where when enlightenment is dawning, you'll have to excuse me, I'm what's called a bhakta, and there are times when the love of the divine moves through like a wave and it just comes out, and it finds its way out often in joyful tears, sometimes for no apparent reason, sometimes with a very obvious trigger. But this is normal. This happens to people, and it's a wonderful thing. I grew up being very, very embarrassed about that. I had one of these good old Midwest macaroni and cheese and Wonder Bread eating dads who would say wonderfully wise things like, "What the hell are you crying about? I'll give you something to cry about." I would hear gospel music and tears, and I was joyful, and I didn't understand. I don't know why this is happening. It feels really good, but I feel really weird because people are looking at me. And my dad's hollering at me. So this can't be good, right? But it is. This is one of the states where the human individual, that individuated unit of consciousness, is directly and consciously experiencing divinity in that moment. As those tears come, they carry this out, and it's a great thing. As part of the process, there are folks who are intellectual giants who you're going to hear from this weekend. They're knowers. I'm a Swami. I kind of sit on my butt and meditate and smile a lot and don't have a lot to say unless I get wound up. And I'm here. I was just hanging out at home, watching my internet and seeing Bob Tuskin and Mark Passio and Frater X and Sonia Barrett and all, the great people, Laura and Dr. Dream and so many folks who are going to be on this stage here. I'm up here too. I'll be damned it. Holy cow, this really happens. Enlightenment is real, and it's for you. All it is you hitting your stride. It is completely natural. It is completely natural and what you are born to do. You don't have to. You're completely free. You have free will. You can go out and grind up kittens in a wood chopper if you like. That's a choice. So is enlightenment. It takes some work. And when you have the opportunity to work with an individual who already sits in this way, they can help you because they've been there, done it, bought the t-shirt, had a beer, and split. And they're happy because they know how this path is sometimes. It can get very scary and very confusing. There's a big, Mark and I were discussing this last night, the Western perception of loss when associated with spiritual practices. All right, but what am I going to have to give up? Does this mean no more sports center? No more internet porn? I don't have to be a vegetarian, do I? No. You don't have to do any of that stuff. As you practice in the science, the ancient science of yoga and meditation, the things which are no longer useful to you will fall off through inattention. And you will find that you just don't care about that the way you used to. And if an adjustment in your diet is necessary, you will be drawn to that more positive choice. And it's not a linear, logical process. It's just, I feel like having nuts and seeds, instead of the quarter pounder with cheese. Ketchup and mustard only, please. It's not what goes in your mouth that defiles you. It is what comes out of it. What you eat causes no karma. What you say causes karma. What you think causes karma. What you do causes karma. And you can become a karma yogi today. When you see a choice before you, make the highest one your mind can offer. And that will be the correct one, every time. Without fail. Make that choice. Not the habituated rut you've been running down year after year after year, situation after situation after situation. Programmed response. Become free from that and expand in all directions simultaneously. Be the only thing there is to be, you. In whatever way you are embodied, in whatever way your mind functions, that's fine. That's your gig. That's why you were sent. That's why you were drawn in here today. Because there's something about all this stuff, I just got to know more. Been there, done it, bought the t-shirt. I don't care for beer, so I didn't have a beer. The chakra system is built in. It is fully functional at all times. You don't need some new age knucklehead, Reiki practitioner, yada yada. I've done all that stuff, by the way. You don't need that to balance your chakra. They're working just fine. Do you need to know how your fuel pump operates in order to get to the grocery store? No. It just doesn't. Push the gas and go. Your system is waiting for you to unleash its potential. There are universes within you have yet to see. They're free. They are you. I am another you. I just wear funny clothes. No different. The gentleman I rode on the train with, the ladies I rode on the train with coming up here. We're all just in the train, headed for Philly, doing Free Your Mind. How cool. The big question is, what will you do after this weekend? You're going to be presented with all kinds of options you might not have thought of before. What will you do? Which choices will you make? Do you realize there's an infinite number of choices available? You don't have to be locked into anything. What you need will present itself to you. Synchronicity is real. 1000% real. And when you are experiencing numerous synchronistic events, you are floating on the river of divine grace. You're not having to do the work. You just show up and stuff starts happening. You meet this person, and then this person introduces you to that other one. And then you guys get together, and now you've got a sangha, a community. Individuations pulling together. That's when we're at our best. That's when we do our best stuff. Unfortunately, it seems to take some pretty drastic events sometimes in order to get us to pull together. We've been through some drastic events. There are more to come. The darkness has great power, but we have more. They are the slaves to their thought processes, their training, their agendas, their rituals, their satanic, Luciferian, whatever label you want to put on this dark nonsense. They have all that, but that's only a portion of it. That's only so much of the vibrational frequency. We have the opportunity to swallow the universe whole. Let it be what it is. Who am I to judge it? I'm watching it all play out. It just keeps happening. I'm not controlling it. I used to want to try to. That was really tiring. I found that when I sat and I just watched it play out without getting greatly emotionally involved, opportunities presented themselves. Connections happened. That's the question mark I wish to leave with you today. In honor of the Free Your Mind 2 conference, what new possibilities will you reach for? You only got to reach a little ways. It looks kind of scary sometimes, but it's not. It's worth every moment of effort. Go in whatever way your heart leads you. And let the mind spin, because that's what it does. It doesn't stop. For you who have not tried meditation or think you suck at it, you're wrong. The mind constantly throws thoughts up. It's supposed to do that. You have to master it. Return to the silence, the stillness, the mantra, whatever your technique is. Go back to the technique. The thoughts will come, and the thoughts will go. And oh my God, I love eggs. And oh, blue is cool. And just this random nonsense all day long that most people aren't even aware is happening. They're just getting beat up by it. But when you can sit with it and watch it like a movie and go, look at the weird stuff my mind does sometimes. Holy crap! I don't have to react in that way now. Because a small gap opens up between thoughts, between an input and your reaction. There's a very small gap. And when you can occupy that gap, you are in control. You are not being pushed. You are deciding in which way to respond. And that's what I would try to offer every human, in whatever way is best for them. My way is one way available, and it works. It's been working for thousands of years, but there are also many others. Go play. Enjoy the play of consciousness. It's a grand adventure. And in the end, there is only one, without a second even possible. We are all that one, each wearing our own clothes. But that one, nonetheless. And you can become united with that one. You dissolve into it, and it shines through you. That's what the synchronicities are. That's the divine going, I am so glad to be out of this cage. Let's have some fun now. Watch this. Boop. Something happens. So you go out after this weekend and you do your own booping. Sit. Become reflective. Contemplate. Meditate. Become enlightened. Drop the burden. All the stress is going to be there when you get back to it. No problem. It's not going away. You do still have to deal with it. But it can be dealt with. And you can be happy. You deserve that. Thank you ever so much. Namaste and blessed.
Very good.